ハローこんにちは。GENG vs T1。4試合目。GENGたまらずザヤ版です。最近グマイシュザヤばっかこすってたしね。ザヤうまかったわ。2v2 強かった。T1 ラスト版何を取る？何をバンする？グラガス。おっとジャックスのプライオリティが上がるぞ。ここでドラン、ジャックスファーストピックするべきなのかっていう顔してるね。グラガスバンだと。セカンドローテーションで必ずこっちジャックス取るよってことだろうね。 T1 プランがなんか崩れたっぽいな。GENGなんか他のチャンピオンを取るつもりだったんだろうけど、マオカイとかセジュとか。マオカイだ。でここで T1 はジャックスだよね。ジャックスセジュとかじゃない？おい来たこれ。おっとオーナーリーシンマジで？ウィスピックバン読んでます。もう全部当てたい。よしここでなんだ。ゼリーラカンカモン。ゼリー見えてからゼリーいっちゃったわ。デライトラカン得意だから取るんじゃない？ケリアもラカンうまかったし。おアリスタなんだ。アリスタ最近評価すげえ高いよな。おいサイラスはどこ行ったよ。次のパッチでバフらしいけどさ、16か世界大会用にね、アカリとサイラスバフするらしいけど、アリスタと言ったらサイラスやんね。魔法界もいるし。ちょっと待って、これサイラス美味しいぞ。サイラスピックしてサイラスのカウンターをどんどんバンしたらどう？でもアジールか。くそサイラスが強ければな。アリスターとマオカイでもうほぼ勝ち確なんだけど、サイラス今弱えから。ゼカですら使わん。
Yeah, the Lulu has been really impressive against Alistar lanes, especially with a relatively weak laning AD carry like Zeri, so I think that's fine. But yeah, I wouldn't mind the Sivir ban either. They could try to target the support pool further just because there is so much left available, including that Rakan that they kind of just got boomed by. So let's see where their thoughts do lie.
カサンテなんだね。ジャックスが有利マッチアップと思ってたけど、ずっと言われてたけど。ランブル、そういえばランブル誰もピックしてねえや。ランブル最強に見えたけど最強じゃないの。ブラーム、ソックピ。アリスタ相手強いね。マオカイのウルトもブロックしてあげられるし、ブラームで。
Ultimate, you know, and stand there, put the door up. It's not.
GENG
We don't really like the Braum in current state, but
GENGプランク。GENGプランク。ドランのGENGプランク初めて見た。勝率高っかこれ。たまに出てきてたんだ。ヨーネイ超 B のヨーネイおーシェット。しかも今ゲールフォースヨネでしょ。みんながイモシ言ってる中、超 B 一時期ねゲールフォース積んでソロキル取りまくってたよね。元祖ゲールフォースヨネユーザー超 B。ベイン What the fuck。 ちょっと待って、ヨネとかギャンプランクとかどうでもいいや。ベインあれウージーがベイン出してたけど、今スタティックシブがあるからベインもいけるってことか。ミニオン吸収装置でベインでもベインが刺さるような光線に見えねえけどな。タンクが射程が短いやつが多ければいいけど、ヨネだるいぞ。ゼリーも機動力あって、ゼリーカウンターなんかね、ゼリー相手に2対1で負けないのか。すげえ面白いピックバーになってきたお互いに。やっぱ あまり出ないチャンピオンが出ると盛り上がるな。ハロー、こんにちは。 T1vs-GENG4 試合目決勝、そして世界大会進出まで王手です。あと1試合勝てば T1 決勝もいけるし、世界大会確定するし、なんだかんだあったけど T1 強え。ここでグマンシまさかのベインピック。ベインっていうチャンピオンはプロでは本当出てきません。メタになったことなんてないしね。やっぱウェーブクリアが弱い、レーンが激弱い、プッシュ力がないってことでね、お留守番もできないし、クリアも遅いからミッドプッシュもできんし、サイドレーンもできんし、とてもリソースを要求する、守ってあげないといけないチャンプですね。だからといって集団戦で最強かって言われると、構成による、ベインの強さは集団戦で1人で行動して、守ってもらわなくても1人でね、なんか敵の攻撃避けて避けるっていうのもあるし、あとタンクを溶かせるんだよな。一番はタンクキラー。同じ相手を3回殴るとパッシブ発動して、レイジブレードとか言ったら2回に1回発動するんだろうけど、割合ダメージ、確定ダメージ持ってるのでタンクが溶ける。ただ構成的にジェンジータンクがアリスター溶かすのは強いんだろうね。アリスターのウルトも確定ダメージだと溶けれちゃうから、魔法界はフェーズラッシュで行ったり来たりするから、純粋なタンクってわけじゃないから、どうなんだろうね。相手がサイオンとかいるときはバチクソ強いだろうけど。And
the same comes true of Doran's gangplank. He's 4-0 on the pick, so he has not lost a game with us yet. It was when he pulled the gangplank out.
トップはギャングプランク対ジャックス。ギャンプランクで無敗らしい。
We kind of collectively decided he's back. You know, there was a moment where he had a pop-off game on GP, and we were all like, okay, well, Doran looks like.
おお、フェイカー避ける。
And then he continued to have a great season. Like the first few weeks of LCK.
ヨネ対アジールはヨネが有利な印象はあるな。
Individual performances despite GENG picking up the wins. Felt like they were winning despite him, not because of him. And then that changed.
ギャンプラは狙えて強いよね。
Passively generates income. He becomes a scaling threat. His barrel chains have been really good. He's one of our resident Korean GPs here. And I think that if you look
ギャンプランク有利なんだろうけど、ジャックスがちょっと有利取り始めたら一生しばきそう。
The damage isn't going to necessarily be there. If you're trying to get on top of him as Jax, like I think that's your better bet. If he gets caught by, for example, a Sejuani ultimate, that could be how he dies first. Yeah. Like there are ways.
ヨネは序盤弱い
But
で
if
すね。
he's just left to his own devices, he's going to do a lot, and Vayne can't really get to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
アリスターフェーズラッシュか。入って離脱。アリスター相手はフェーズラッシュいかないとその後やられちゃうっていう考えなんだろうね。で今回ジャックス・セジョニだからトップの 2v2 強いよ。セジはメレーと相性がいいからね。特にジャックスはオートリセットがあるからオート W ですぐ2回パパって打てるからスタックすぐ溜まってスタン決めて。ギャンプランクってかなりギャングに弱いチャンプだからね。もろくて柔らかいし。こうなるよな。裏から来た。しかもウェーブ状況最悪。しかもフラッシュ使って死んだんでしょ。これ繰り返し来るぞ。ドランがあーっていう顔してたね。やべえっていう顔。ジャックスがキル取ったしね。しかもふわこれギャンプランクが有利だから勝ってる時はいいけど負け始めたらジャックスにマジで無視、もうタルとか関係なしにしばかれそう。強引にブリンクされ続けて死ぬんじゃない。でチョービー帰ってきて一個攻める。でもフェイカーはバックしてない。ここで狙ってくるか。決めたけどオーナーが殺しきれん。お互いにジャングラーうまく決める。誰か来てるか。誰も来れない。
successful kill here onto Faker. Faker doesn't flash, knows the situation he's in. Chevy set up that Q3. It was really nicely played. And is able to set up the knockup.
チームファイトでベインがね、ギャンプランクのウルトで動けなくなるし、ヨネ相手も辛いだろうし、ちょっとベインがチームファイトで難しいとは思うんだけど、T1、このジャックスのキルでかい。
Comes over here and sets this one up with Chovy. Owner trying to hold them into turret aggro, but Chovy actually doesn't pick it up. Very well played. Juggling that one, Peanut holds onto it, so Chovy just walks it out there. Faker is going to be able to get the plate. Looks like he almost didn't get it, but he does pick that one up, so at least that's something.
Doran, once again, Owner.
うわー、また来たー。
Available for Doran, and you can't cleanse both of those. That's another death. Here for Doran, excellently set up, and this is what we wanted to see from T1. They're doing it between.
こうなるよな。セジュプラスメレートップだからさ。セジュはもう本当トップを壊すのに特化してるチャンプ。しかもこれで終わりじゃないんだよね。多分もう一回来るよ。うわあ、心が痛い。ウェーブが燃えてる。しかもこれウェーブプッシュします。なんならソロキルもされる可能性あるぞ。
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, this is, again, it's why we don't see a lot of Jax Sejuani generally picked up. And remember that GENG got it in game 1, actually. And they didn't play around it, you know, amazingly, but they still won the game. Whereas this time around, it's a heavy focus. It's now
戦うか？アリサがフラッシュ、ヨネのウルト、うまく決めた。ギャンプランクのアルティメットもあるからね。ギャンプランクのキルだ。ギャングプランクキル取った。うおー、魔王界のウルトまだ残ってるだと。まさかジェンジンを見せてくる。ギャンプランクこれだよこれ。ソロ級あるある。ウルトだけ打ってバス乗る。レートゲーム結局ギャンプランク最強。いや、アリスターのエンゲージ良かったね。連携がすごかった。
The Yone Zeri types of compositions, when you have this much control, feel fantastic. And look at Faker, he's just unfortunately a little bit too far behind the play here. And yeah, Chovy's low on health than he is, but you're fighting into a choke point here.
いやー、アリスターもうめえな。アリスターほんとうまかったね。アリスターさ、ああいう時ってさ、Q フラッシュしてから W で味方にセジパスすると思うじゃん。違うんだよね。ヨネと連携合わせて、ヨネのウルトを合わせてた。で、その後 W をベインに打ってるわけよ。普通だったらセジュに W 打つと思うんだけど、ヨネもいるから食らわないように。あ、キル経験値でマオカが6になってウルト使ったってことか。ギャンプランクにアシスト4つ入れといたよって。まあ、2足1キル。ギャンプランク。お前これ以上フィードすんなってことやんの。メンタル回復してくれドラント。ああ、来た。
And he's never really going to be relevant in the side lane for sure. I do wonder if he can get to a spot if this game will go long enough.
まあ T1 はジャックスを軸にゲーム回してくるだろうね。
Where Doran at least can like hit one barrel, one ult in a team fight, and maybe that's enough. But this is a very big Zeus problem that Doran has right now.
Yeah, barrel is going to land here, and Zeus can take an extra turret shot. Peanut was in the vicinity with flash and ult.
ヨネも2キルか、超ビ。
Try to come over there and punish Zeus if he wanted to be a little bit more aggressive, but he won't greed too hard. And he has picked up several plates here. I mean, he is really big. I was going to say, I'd love to see a goal lead graph here. It's 1200, the advantage on this Jax this early. Super big problem here, but the Yone and the Zeri. These are the real conditions here now for GENG. Lots of threats. Peanut on the player cam is still just loving every minute of this. Remember, it's double elimination. You lose here. It's not like your tournament life is over. You can absolutely still make that run.
Divine Thunder もう出てるんだ。やばいじゃん。
It's just little bit of a shaky series here for GENG, and the momentum is not in their favor, but it is in this game.
Yeah, and you would have really liked to just win.
GP ウルト使ってウェーブクリアしたぞ。
Grand finals plus worlds, right? Like that's really, really nice. So you don't lose too much, but you also have a lot to gain from actually winning. So definitely a lot of stakes here for both teams.
Essence Reavers picked up for Doran now, so it's the first step to trying to be a champion in this game.
ヤングプランク、エッセンスリーバーは出るね。結構ギャンプランクってなんだっけ、先行投資取るっけ、プラスパッシブで。ギャンプランクアイテムの出が早すぎるんだよな。まあボトムはベインだからやっぱしばかれてるね、お互いにスタティックシブ。でもこんな序盤不利を背負うほどベインのチームファイトレートゲーム強くないと思うけどな、構成的に。序盤はギブして集団戦でベインが輝けるかな。
I'm just going to hold on to this Rift Herald. I mean, you have the turret already. Just my presence here is enough for Doran to have to back off the lane and for Zeus to take an entire turret by himself, plus all 5 turret plates. So this guy already, you can see 2.4 thousand gold ahead as GENG. They're going to take an Ocean Drake, but guys, your top lane is kind of it's kind of in a rough spot here, as it will just get the crash on the inner.
Yeah, and Chovy's gonna respect this and teleport in. They still get the dragon.
ヨネがテレポートしてだいぶカバーするか。ドラゴン2つ目ジェンジ。ゴールドは T1 が勝ってますね。ジャックスのおかげで。ジャックス以外が弱え。
Okay. He's very far down the lane as the flash comes in, and Faker's in a lot of trouble. Has flash himself. I don't think he's going to even bother to use it, as just throws up a bunch of soldiers. But that's another kill given over to Chovy, who is 3-0 now on his Yone.
It's reminiscent of Game 1, that kill onto Faker where he was greeting for plates in a similar situation.
アリスタ何が強くなったんだっけ？パッシブか？サステンが良くなって連戦が良くなって出てくるようになったのかな。
Like leash he gave himself there, obviously to slide back into position there to the Sand Soldier, but still there's just too much to lock him down. He knows he's dead, doesn't even flash, and he's greeding super hard. That's
Faker もう0-3だ。
And it's a lot of map control that T1 are going to potentially lose, just like we saw in Game 1. So, you know, again, Doran not relevant, but everyone else so relevant that you start to wonder who's really ahead in this game. And I think it's like, do you believe in the side lane condition of this Jax? Do you believe that that's going to get the Vayne and the Azir into a late game win condition? Is really what you're asking yourself right now if you're a T1 fan, because the Fed Yone is a big problem, and Doran will eventually still be somewhat relevant later on in the game, and they have great engage. They have a Maokai and a Yone, and they have this Zeri that's also significantly ahead. So Faker here thought he could just dash his way out of this one, set up the Sand Soldiers to get out Delight here though, just knocks him away from turret, and then there's just so much damage. Not going to commit the flash. If he flashes Delight's knock up there, maybe he gets out, but
フェイカー上に行くと思ったけどな。川下に行ったんだ。マオカイがいるところに行っちゃった。タワープレート差ですごい差が出てる。ジャックスが死んだら終わる可能性が高くないか？ジャックスが止まっちゃいけないな。
What they're given is really what it's going to come down to, right? We've talked a bit about the drafts, but it hasn't always come to fruition. Sometimes it's just about who's playing better League of Legends, as Doran is trying to match here against Faker, which is pretty okay. Although the crown definitely the right choice here for Faker, by the way, because yeah, you can get it poked down, but you're going to be denying huge barrels, huge Yone engages. Even the Zeri is going to struggle to take that down. Not a lot of range here on the side of GENG, so
you need
good choice.
Yeah, you need to be able to have really strong engages as the Azir, and the crown is probably just going to guarantee that happens every time. You follow up on Owner's ult as well.
Herald 戦うのか？ アジェリ TP 切らんと。ギャンプランクは TP 切らずにウルト切れるから有利だよ、ジェンジーが。アジェリ TP 切った。 GP も TP 切る。ジャンプランクのウルトのチームファイターどうなる。ゼウスが突っ込んでゼリ倒せ。ゼウスがキャリーできるか。
As the carries are really going 1-for-1 here, but still T1 on the chase. They have Zeus, they have Faker, who did use his ultimate, and Delight looks like he will have to sacrifice to get out of this one. So T1 trying to get Chovy here. That's a big shutdown if they could, but they're not going to be able to lock down the Yone.
Okay, he gets out with the Q3, dashes his way through. Doran here going to get a demolished proc, but isn't going to be able to pick up any gold here. It's 16 minutes into the game, but still going to delete some minions away from T1, so that's one good aspect of this loss.
ヨネとジャックスが座ってますな。
win the fight, grab the Herald, and it was a really nice start off by Zeus. He wraps his way around, and
お互い ADC やられたか。
finding early it looked really scary there. Like, oh man, this Jax is going to get him, but Peanut actually outplays it and hits him there with the Bramble Smash. So watch this passage of play here as Chovy unbinds, and then Peanut actually smashes Zeus away. Actually really important here, and then the ult goes off, which keeps T1 at bay. The Paze's ultimate here really hits nobody, and even though he's able to avoid the Emperor's Divide here, Genji are just fighting into this choke point where it's literally a fanned-out composition of T1, and Zeus once again gets into position, and even though Chovy's here to do some really big damage, there's just not enough damage once Aries gone, and you're still a ranged champion who's relying on your kit. You're not going to have that damage output, unfortunately, that a enemy Azir and a Fed Jax are going to have.
Yeah, and Doran, you know, not really a factor yet. He's just kind of pushing mid, not really able to help, as, you know, he doesn't quite have that damage. And the second the Zeri's gone, as you mentioned, and Yone's just out of the fight, you don't really have any follow-up. So even though Guma goes down, Faker and Zeus able to get the job done. Now, game is still very close. You can see here, especially with the Chemtech Soul, and, you know, T1 are slightly ahead, and they are going to try to take out this mid-tier 1 with the Rift Herald.
ミッドタワー取れるんじゃないこれ。
Barely be able to,
Big.
able to get across the line there.
Yeah.
サンドラ。
Picking up some more gold here now.
5対5また来るぞ。
For this Soul Point fight. Not again very critical for this comp. I mean, Vayne's one of the better champions to get it. Jax as well, I guess, you know, if you get that soul. But they don't have any dragons, so they're just getting the individual healing and shielding power and tenacity. Genji looking to force this.
Yep. We will have a fight. Both teams.
ギャンプランクがちょっと回ってこなきゃいけない。取ったのは T1。 チームファイトはどうだ。ジャックスがフロント張る。ヨネが逃げにウルト使った。勝てないという判断。でもアリサ引かないぞ。戦うのか。 T1 ドラゴン取りました。ヨネ所定王権なんだ。ヨネのビルド何これ。王権からのタンクアイテム行こうとしてる。ゲールじゃねえのか。
I mean, Delight takes almost all of his health instantly, and then they just know they can't win this longer fight. Doran is not a factor, as you mentioned in the last fight. He's still not a factor
Even Shroud either.
And the Cannon Barrage is kind of tickling T1 as they are able to push Genji away.
今イーブンシュラードなんですよ。マジで。あのアイテムマジで強いんだけどさ、2600、2300円か。クソ安くてな、HP くれて、MR アーマーくれて。 与えるダメージ増えて味方が正直壊れてるアイテムだよね。タンクジャンガラーが積むもんだと思ってたけど米まで行くの。ちょっと前まではジャック賞だったのに。本当だ、イーブンシュラードだ。What the fuck?コスパ良すぎる最強アイテムだからね。
Yeah, I think I don't know. I might have just preferred him to do damage, but like you mentioned, it kind of does enable the rest of his team and himself even. So definitely an interesting choice. I feel like we need like a 10-minute desk segment to really break this down.
I think in a lot of ways, Valdez, like the way this game has to be won for GENG is extending it so long, and obviously with the soul being such a non-factor in this game.
ベイン仕事できるか？
Okay, Yone is really strong now and really ahead, but that's not going to matter in 10, 12 minutes where the game is probably going to be decided. So I just want to empower this game.
ベインの集団戦早く見たいわ。
They're going to be super relevant. I want to make sure my engages are good. It's basically crown Yone.
正直構成は俺GENGが強そうに見えるんだけど。ジャックスが精進勝ってるぞ。AD 濃いし、通常攻撃がメインなGENG構成相手ジャックスは刺さりそうではある。アリスト入ってく。ベインの3発目とブラムのパッシブが同時に入ったか。ジャックス終わってる。
As Doran, you know, if he gets counterstruck, he's dead in any scenario for the rest of this game. So the fact that
ギャンプランクはね結局タル次第だからね。タル一発バックラインに当ててクリティカルした時に勝ちだよ。勝ちは確定する。結構運ゲーチャンプではある。クリティカルするかどうかタルが。ちょっと待って今ベインが近くにいないよ。なんかゼウス孤立してるな。ゼウス引っかかった。マジかお前が一番強かったのにお前がいないとダメじゃねえか。ベインさんクリア遅いからねミッドクリアしてたのよ今。ヨネのエンゲージは1回に出した。でもこれベインがいけるんじゃねえか。悪くねえぞベイン。ベインを見ろみんな。ベインを見ろこのクソゴミチャンピオンを。なんだこれ。なんだこれ。何このジャンプ。なんかベインが舞うかと思ったらかすって HP なんか半分消えたの。まあ状況が絶望的ではあった。育ってるジャックスがいなかったから。他の ADC が何かできたかっていうとそうでもないんだけど、期待したベインがちょっと何もできずにね終わっちゃったね。ワンチャンスティールあるぞこれ。視界がね視界が。うわー取れなかった。Got in with like 1,000 health, but not quite able to do it. That's Flash now down, and GENG in control of this game.
Yeah, they're in control of this game. Joey picked up a ton of money. Like I said, regardless of what he builds third year, he's going to do a ton more damage with the gold he picks up after locking down Zeus. So Zeus is actually getting up into the thick of things here, but notice the lack of
てかマジで何やってるん。ベインいねえじゃん。ベインからしても困るよね。
Like Guma's not on top of this, so
What
Zeus
the
is
fuck?
locking down these champions and trying to do damage on his own. There's no carrier. Once he's dead, it's really tough to fight it out. And Faker doesn't get a ton of value with his Emperor's Divide here. Doran sitting on the side.
正直ベインは悪くない。
Takes Faker out of the equation, and then it's a dead brawl.
いやマジ
Bane can't do
無理ゲーすぎる。
1v4. And Chovy, I mean, he's pretty big in this game, even though he went for a utility build. Now the game is getting longer. They're getting a lot of money. Doran's starting to become more and more relevant as well. A little bit concerned here for
ゼリがベインのステロイドバージョンにしか見えん。上位互換や。
You look at Faker and you look at the Vayne Guma, like those baskets are all right, but they don't quite compare to the amount of eggs that are in the baskets of, you know, even the Zeri and the GP at this point who picked up the Navori quick blades. And you give
ガ
enough
チタン
time
ク相
to
手
this Gen
タン
G
ク
comp,
構
they
成相手
will
だっ
just
たらベイン
dominate
が勝るんだろう
with
けど
the
それ以
sheer
外だ
amount
と
of
ちょっ
damage
と
that they
ね
have.
ベイン
They've
が
got AoE damage
ゼリに
as
勝ってる
well.
要素がどこにあるん
Pretty
だろうか。
insane and target acquisition as well.
タイマンは強い
I
だろ
mean,
う
the
けどね。
Randuin's here for Peanut is just so fantastic. I feel like into what T1 are running. They've got to get on top of you, and it's going to really hurt the Jax's power. It's basically an anti-Jax item in this particular case, as it is the shield bow he does complete here third. This build really threw me for a loop. I apologize to everyone. But
結局ギャングプランクに賞金ついちゃ
I
ったよ。
don't know how they win this now as T1 without a
ヨネは
really
イモシそうかリベンシュラード言ってるから買えないのか。
Because there's just too many threats, and even Doran is becoming a threat. He's a whole item behind, but he's still GP, still does a bunch of damage AoE in these fights. and he outranges you. If he could set up those barrel chains when he had this
ウージー
one
も
back
なんか
control,
ちょこ
guess
ちょこ
what?
出してるよね、ベイン。
You know, you're gonna have
勝
those
った試合
barrels
見た。
down.
Yeah, no, they are, and I think Zeus
ウージー世界大会来てくれるの？
is just the one threat
見たい
they
ぜ。
have. He gets Zonya's third, and GENG are just ignoring him. They have the Baron buff. They go top.
来ない、
And this
来れ
is
ない
the triple。
無
threat
理、
right
無
here.
理なん
There's
だ、
no
うわ、
tanks
残
with
念。
this at all. It's just 2v Doran and Pays moving forward, taking a turret as T1 cannot match this. Not without Zeus, not without the whole team being there basically. And the Baron push just getting more and more value.
4000ゴールド差、4ドラ
Offers of
があと3分後
GP
か。
looks to be going collector
バロン取って
next.
4000ゴールド。
Who's
多い
gonna have
ね、
a
お
lot
金
of
稼いでる
resistances,
ね。
a lot of tankiness in this one.
Yeah. The
キャンプランクここからコレクター行くんだ。
can buy T1 a lot of time here, and the Baron has now run out, so they haven't lost any inhibitors, so no permanent base damage done here.
あ、でもそうか、脅威プラスクリティカルもらえるからギャンプランクと相性いいか。ウルトとタルのダメージすげえ上がるし。ザシャイは来るよ。マジ？あ、なに中国はもう決まったの？ 3 チーム、4チーム。ザシャイ来るの楽しみすぎる。あいつのピークはとんでもなかったからな。ケールでジェイスしばく男だからね。ナートップ来たら野草出す男だし。オッケーオッケー、キャッチ、キャッチいけなかった。ジャックスも HP が少ねえ。ヨネが来た。ヨネを捕まえることもできない。ゼリとアリスタいないからここはジェンジ下がります。ターザンも来る。おお、ターザン楽しみ。え、何ルーラーは来るでしょ多分。ルーラー来るっしょ、ターザン来るっしょ。レヘンズも、どうだろう。で、チョービー。おお、リユニオンできるじゃん。バラバラの別々のチームで。グリフィンの同窓会開ける可能性高いな。
12 kills to 5,000 gold still ahead in this game, absolutely, and have a very strong, well-rounded composition. But if one miracle counter-strike goes off one of these fights, really great efforts to fight. Somebody gets picked by owner setting up an ult. I think this game is still winnable for T1, and that's the one thing that T1 has.
バイパーが怪しい。あ、そうか、バイパーか。だって HLE だもんな。
In situations like this, and if they've taught me anything after I predicted them to
CB マックスは来れないね、また。ソードさん。ソードさん今どこにいる？ LGL 来いよ。
This lead that they have in this game. Not a lot of action in the current state because T1 from behind, they don't really want to force anything, and GENG from ahead, they know they scale incredibly with GP and Zeri, and even the Yone, so they're just kind of...
ソウル50秒、バロンも同じタイミング。ゴールドは6000差。きちー。レッドゲーム強いけどね、お互いのレッドゲームバチクソ強いチャンピオンしかいない。よし、ベイン一応3コアだ。ベイン強いぞ。レッドゲームチャンプ。序盤クソ弱い代わりに強いはず。でもレベル14。What the fuck。ゼリーレベル16。ちょっと待って、ゼリーレベル16だと。おい、ソロレーナーよりも高えぞ。ジャックスレベル14なんだか。ギャンプランク16なんだか。おい、ジャックス育ってると思ったら育ってねえじゃん。詐欺じゃん。ヨネの Q、まあブリンク読みしやがる。お、これはメテオスのリーシンポジション。後ろから蹴れ、ゼリーを蹴れ、ジャックス。蹴ることはできなかった。ヨネのアルティメットの角度がすごい綺麗に出てる。うおー、グマよし、グマよし、グマ。テレレテレレテレレ。オッケー、5試合目、レッツゴー。いいじゃん、いいじゃん、5試合じゃん、楽しいじゃん。結局ドランのギャンプランク無敗か。あんだけトップボコしてたのにね。まあ、ゼウスが引っかかっちゃったからな。
is just ultimately too much here for T1.
フェイカーのアジールも053。
We are going to silver scrapes here, Valdez, in a T1 series. And GENG will not go
GG's。
quietly
やっぱプロで
into the
ベイン
lower
は
bracket. They are gonna
むずいよ
fight
ね。
this one through.